Welcome to the Catholic Apostolate Center's Blogcast series. Today's episode is titled Finding Freedom in the Eucharist, written and read by Danielle Schmitz. Pope Benedict XVI, in his address to young people on the 20th World Youth Day, said, "Dear young people, the happiness you are seeking, the happiness you have a right to enjoy, has a name and a face. It is Jesus of Nazareth, hidden in the Eucharist. Only he gives the fullness of life to humanity." Growing up as a cradle Catholic, it was always easy to take the Eucharist for granted. Even though I recognized the true presence, it was tempting to see Holy Communion, Adoration, and Jesus being present in the tabernacle as a bonus to the faith, and not the foundation of the way I lived my life. Now that I serve in youth ministry, I see that this line of thinking too often becomes the norm for young Catholics. But what happens when young Catholics live a life centered around the Eucharist, when they allow themselves to be consumed by Christ, finding complete freedom and complete surrender? They begin to live in their identity as beloved sons and daughters. I got to witness this transformation firsthand this summer, serving as a missionary with Catholic Youth Summer Camp. Every week, I watched middle school and high school students meet Jesus in the Eucharist for the first time, experiencing his love and feeling the truth of their identity in a real, tangible way. And every week after these experiences, there was a shift in the way these kids lived their lives. It was as if they were no longer afraid of being judged or not accepted by the teenagers around them. Instead, they were confident in the sufficiency of the love they felt from God. When the campers started to recognize and feel the truth of their identity as sons and daughters, when they realized that they can look into Jesus in the Eucharist and physically see that truth, they no longer cared about the opinions of the people around them and would do whatever brought them joy. This often looked like the small but life-changing steps of fully entering into the Mass in worship, taking times of prayer seriously, and having childlike fun and joy throughout the day. Throughout the summer, I began to realize that the experience that these teenagers had in their first moment of encounter with Jesus, the childlike joy and freedom they experienced, is not an experience for them or for children alone. All of us, including you and I, are all seen by the Father as his beloved daughters and sons, and he desires to show us that truth and the love he holds for us in a real, tangible way through the Eucharist. Every time we receive Jesus into our bodies, every time we spend time gazing into his face in adoration, we give him the opportunity to remind us of how unconditionally loved we are, how we belong with him and nothing else. These truths give us the freedom to not fear what waits in the world, nor fear the chains of sin or worldliness. They help us recognize that there is no fear in the perfect love we experience living in Jesus Christ, and the only thing we have to worry about is following his will. When the world is not something to fear, we can recognize creation as the gift that it is and receive what the Lord has waiting for us. The next time you go to Mass or Adoration, recognize that love incarnate is entering you in order to prove just how far he'll go to show that you belong with him. Allow that truth of his unconditional love and your belonging in it to shape the way you live your life, embracing the freedom he has won and given to us.